Hi everyone, welcome back to Splash Page. I'm Sean, and as always, I'm joined by Andrew. How's it going, Andrew?
Hey, how's it going? Good to be back. It's been a minute.
Yeah, it has been, and I think it's really because of the topic that we want to discuss today, which are some updates that we have around Invincible Season 2. The vast majority of it, though, is going to be talking about the recent controversies surrounding Ezra Miller, as Ezra is the voice of D.A. Sinclair, one of the villains turned kind of side characters in Season 1 of Invincible.
That's right.
And the reason why we want to discuss this, and this is not by any means what we want to do as Splash Page, our goal here is to be having fun and talking about awesome TV shows. But since we are in the middle of Season 1 and Season 2, and we know, unfortunately, not a lot of production has begun on Season 2 at this point, there is the opportunity to potentially replace Ezra as things are happening outside of the production of this show.
Yeah, Ezra's had a couple problems that might cause them to get cut from a couple projects. There were some rumors that WB had some discussions about their career, and I actually saw another article that said that WB didn't have those meetings about their career, so I'm not even sure what the case is. There's a lot of talk out there, and there's not a lot of information.
Yeah, and I think it's very different between the two properties.
Right.
You know, what we know about the legal issues is conjecture or allegations. Obviously, we don't know the truth, or we haven't heard anything about real charges being pressed. At least I haven't. So it'll be interesting to see how long or at what point these discussions would happen. I think for Warner Brothers, that is a much larger discussion that would need to happen if Ezra is found guilty or just public opinion completely changes.
Right.
For me, they're in a tough spot. However, for Invincible, I think it's pretty cut and dry that they have the opportunity to move forward however Kirkman and the production team wants, as Ezra really plays D.A. Sinclair in 3 episodes, and on top of that, the future of the character, and I'm hoping this is no spoilers, I'm hoping that a change could be made and no one would even notice it. There are voice actors out there who do impressions and do other voices for a living.
It's voice acting, so it can be corrected or changed if they want to. Here's the other issue. Nobody's really calling for Ezra to be replaced on Invincible because, again, with the nature of voice acting, I'm sure a lot of people don't even realize that it's Ezra doing that voice.
Right.
I agree. It's more of an inside thing for people that were fans to get a big name in there, as opposed to, let's say, the Flash movie, where it's their face on the screen and they'd have to reshoot everything of a $45 million movie that's already been wrapped. It's going to be tough. I think the best they could do, and again, I would hope that someone's career doesn't get screwed over a couple smaller things that haven't been proved. And if they have been proved, that's a different story. But the best they could do is delay the movie and hope to find a way to change everyone's outlook on the actor. Because they've already spent the money to film. They're already doing sound mixing and visuals. It's going to be hard to just say, well, let's reshoot this movie where our main character can no longer be in the movie.
I'm with you. I would be very, very surprised if Flashpoint doesn't come out with Ezra being the Flash. This is not a situation like All the Money in the World where, allegations came out about Kevin Spacey.
Right.
And therefore, rather than scrapping the movie completely or going out with the movie as it was shot, they went in and probably spent tens of millions of dollars to reshoot all of the scenes and replace Kevin Spacey with Christopher Plummer. That amount of effort it isn't possible here because Ezra's also a part of that universe via the other films.
Yeah, that's an issue I also have with the whole, and it's not the correct time right now in this video to try to change all of the MCEU or the DCU, But we used to just have movies where an actor played a character, and then the next movie a different actor could play the same character. And now we're stuck in this weird Hollywood system part 2, like back in the golden days where people have contracts with a studio to play characters over and over again, and they're trying to keep a continuity going. That makes things complicated when real life gets involved.
I just want to come out and ask you, Andrew, your opinion. Should Kirkman and the production team of Invincible move on or replace Ezra Miller as the voice of D.A. Sinclair?
At this point, I don't think so. If future allegations become fact, then perhaps. But again, you're like you said, in Invincible, it'll be a lot easier to do so.
Yeah.
And nobody's even calling for him to leave that. I think a big part of this is that the Flash is so big, and Grant Gustin was a fantastic Flash on the TV show, that a lot of fans are taking this opportunity to say, hey, we could put Grant Gustin in there like we always wanted to. So I think that's a lot of the backlash as well on this.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I think the reason why there's no one calling for Ezra to be replaced on Invincible is just because people don't realize it's him.
Exactly.
So in my opinion, as a fan of Invincible and someone who also didn't really realize it was Ezra Miller, I think just replace Ezra at this point, because it's just not worth the drama. It's just not worth the risk. It's just not worth the potential backlash. I'm sure there's a morality clause in whatever Ezra signed for the show, and likely the producers can get out of the contract.
Yeah, maybe, but on the other hand, replacing them might actually bring more attention to the fact that they're in this show to begin with.
I think it's worth it.
Fair. Disclaimer, neither of us have that power, so.
No. Nor do our opinions really matter.
No.
So, take it for what it's worth.
Most likely are wrong.
Yeah. Moving into just kind of a larger update on Invincible. Unfortunately, there really hasn't been any movement or public movement that we can speak to as far as where they are in the production process. However, in kind of looking into it, I saw a quote from Kirkman, which I think is from earlier this year, that I just absolutely loved and wanted to share with you, Andrew, so that we could quickly discuss what we think it means.
Yeah.
The quote goes on to say, "I'm always acutely aware of the fact that one of the appeals of this comic is how frequently unexpected things happen. I want to try to maintain that as much as I can for the audience that has read the comic and is now watching the show. By changing and rearranging things, even if you have read the comics, you still get a sense of, oh, I didn't expect this already, or oh, I thought this character would be like this, or do this but isn't. It brings a little of that excitement from the comics into the show." So that was Kirkman kind of explaining how he is thinking about this second season, how he thought about the first season. And really his goal is to keep everyone on their toes, and even people with prior knowledge around the comic, guessing throughout. And just wanted to get your gut reaction on that, Weens.
Well, this is why Kirkman's a genius, at least as far as Invincible goes. Because again, like we had discussed, a couple other shows based on comic books followed the comic book exactly or changed things for no reason and kind of fell flat on their face. In this case, he really changed the story to fit the medium. It changed just enough to be like, oh, right, that didn't happen yet, or that should have happened already, or that didn't happen quite as it happened. But it makes sense in this version of the story. And he's really writing for the medium, and it shows that he's actually thinking about the stories he's trying to tell and how he's telling them.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I think the difference between the page and the screen is a very real one, and he's done an amazing job, or the whole production team has done an amazing job translating and then making it fit for the medium. The other quote that I thought was really cool, and I'll give you this one as well, I'd love to get your point of view.
Yeah.
"I will say that we've teased Angstrom Levy coming in Season 2, so that is something to get really excited about. There's a lot of stuff that comes from that character, and I guess you could kind of get the sense from watching Season 1 roughly how we're going to be adapting those things and how they would make up Season 2. So essentially, coming out and saying that we will have another big bad for season 2, and one that both you and I, Andrew, are very excited for, knowing kind of the possibilities of what Angstrom brings to the Invincible universe.
Yeah, I love the
But
Angstrom Levy character. That whole storyline is great.
yeah, but what I want to ask the question is, in your opinion, who was season 1's big bad?
So who's the big bad? That's a baited question. I don't know. I guess you'd have to say it's Omni-man. I guess the only other option, it could be the Muller twins, the Flaxans, or Cecil. Cecil is kind of one of those. I wouldn't say he's the villain, but he does cause a lot of destruction, not of his own accord.
Yeah, I see what you're saying with Cecil, but I think I do agree with your Omni-Man call. It's funny, when I saw that line, I thought back to myself, is there a big bad in the Invincible universe? And I think, when you get to the end of the comics, there kind of is. But at this stage, each episode had its own conflict, and really, I think it dealt with different villains in every episode. To your point, there were the Flaxans, there was Titan, there was Machine Head. Each episode kind of went on, and we got a great story. And the overarching villain, the only one that could be seen in every episode and seen in a way that they were hiding something and they were building up to something, would be Omni-Man.
Yeah. Well, they do a good job in this show of the villains not being villainous for no reason. Everyone has their reasons, and those are my favorite villains, where the villain feels like they're the hero. Because even a big part of the end of season 1 was Omni-Man explaining why this had to happen and why this is the only way this could go, and this is actually good for Earth and for him and for everyone. So most of the characters there, Titan too, he was doing bad things for good reasons, or like everyone had their reasons for what they were doing.
Yeah, and there's just so many of them that it would be hard to say this one is the worst or this one is the key.
It is highly populated. You are correct. There's a lot going on.
Yeah, and it's only going to get wilder.
Yeah. Yes, especially if we're going with Angstrom Levy as the main villain.
Yeah, totally. So great. So the only other thing I have for today is just kind of a point of clarification or realism around the production. One of the things that you don't really think about on this show that often, but the first topic from today around Ezra Miller kind of points out is that this show has an absolutely star-studded cast. The voice actors are huge A-listers in either the TV world or the movie world. And in any other situation, you could imagine how difficult it would be to schedule, all of these people to come together and act together in this shoot with everything else they have going on. But I worked with a relatively large star not too long ago and heard from her that the way they handle a lot of these animated shows, particularly that are kind of this adult animation, is rather than having studio sessions with multiple people going to them, or even for these stars to go somewhere, they actually send audio crews to build a little studio within these actors' homes, if they prefer, and just capture basically the whole season in like a 3-hour window. Because these guys are all pros, so they knock it out of the park. They don't need much reaction or back and forth. So basically, J.K. Simmons will be sitting at his coffee table, and they'll mic him up, they'll make sure the room has the soundproofing needed, let him record all of his lines for this season once they're written, and then take that audio back, cut it all together. If they need a reread, they'll get back to him and, share that with him. But really, it's so easy and so seamless, even though these guys are all over the world shooting the largest movies and TV shows in the world.
The only issue I have with that is J.K. Simmons probably not sitting at his coffee table, probably sitting in a walk-in closet. Because you need a small room for that kind of thing to soundproof. You get a lot of echo from the kitchen. But But yeah.
Yeah, but I
yeah, they can all do it from wherever.
I will say that J.K. Simmons... Yeah, I will say that J.K. Simmons' probably walk-in closet is bigger than the room I'm currently recording in. So...
Yep.
So thanks everyone for watching this video and kind of sticking with us for the ride as we wait on Invincible Season 2 and 3. Let us know, what we messed up. Let us know what you think should be done with Ezra Miller in the Invincible universe. And let us know what you're most excited about for Season 2.
Hey Sean, I hear we have a new giveaway.
Absolutely. Right now we are giving away toys from Vox Machina.
Wow.
The amazing D&D inspired Amazon Prime show. We are giving away 2 toys. The first is a Vax toy and the second is a Percy toy. And we will be giving them away once we hit 2,500 subscribers.
That is very cool. Now, I know we've done giveaways before. Just to confirm, I can't win these, right?
You cannot win these.
All right.
But anyone that wants to win them, just make sure you subscribe to our channel and leave a comment on this or any of our videos and you'll be entered to win for free.
Good luck to you all.
Well, thanks. I'm Sean. That's Andrew. Take it easy.
Later.